Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Military Pigskin, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, where our members are the mission. Frank Frangie along with Ian Shields. This is a Commander-in-Chief Trophy Week. Those are big weeks, aren't they? Oh,
there's no question. A rival game, and the rival games of all rival games. This is at the top of the goal board at each of the academies. It doesn't get any bigger than this. This is why they're suiting up.
And I tell you what, it's a couple teams that can score. We'll get into the specifics in a bit, but this is a few teams that can score, isn't it?
They are. They're scoring a bunch. Air Force put 38 on Boise State last week, still under defeat, but they're spreading the ball around well, and then Army's doing the same thing in their way. And again, it looks to be quite a matchup.
All right, well, it is a terrific matchup. There's no question about that. Army and Air Force, and boy, it means a lot. We're going to enjoy talking about these two terrific football programs and the matchup coming up this weekend. But I can tell you this much. Both Jeff Monken, the Army coach, and Troy Calhoun of Air Force understand the significance of this one.
Anytime you play an academy game, certainly these are big games, and to this point of the season, we haven't played a bigger game than this one. So, guys are looking forward to the opportunity to play here at home, and hopefully we'll play well.
That's where your focus has to be. Now, it doesn't mean the student body down the hallway, they aren't excited about the other things that are going on. You just want to make sure where we are is dialed in on playing good football.
Well, it is a big game. They all know that. Let's start with this Army football team that has played so well this year, and that means starting with Kelvin Hopkins Jr., the quarterback. Ian, he's already doubled last year's output in terms of Army passing.
Well, he's a dynamic player. They're better when Kelvin Hopkins Jr. is healthy, full speed, which he was last week. Again, he's a true dual threat quarterback. Beats you with it, certainly with his legs. They know they're going to do that, but with his arm as well. Hyper efficient in the passing game last week against Eastern Michigan. Again, he's the field general. He's the guy with the stars on his chest in the football sense.
And they can all run it. He can throw it as well. That's what made Hopkins, or has made Hopkins, so very, very good. I can also tell you this. There's a fever and there's a buzz on both of these campuses. This is a big deal now, and Army's Cole Christensen certainly understands that.
Any of the academy games are massive games for us. We're just really excited because they're so physical and fun to play in. We're just ready to turn it loose. I mean, the build-up is insane. I mean, there's already banners hanging out of every window, and there's always like these spirit missions with the Air Force cadets and our cadets. It's just really fun to be a part of. And then obviously on Saturday, it's just a whole nother level of energy.
Boy, it's an exciting time on the campus. Now, you were on the campus for 5 years. When one of these games came around, as a coach there with your players, what was this week like?
Well, you just realize the significance of playing another academy. There's a great deal of respect there, but these games are important on campuses at the academies, but off the campuses, out with the troops, worldwide, there's interest. I mean, you have generals writing letters to the team before the game for these games. There's a lot of dignitaries involved. It's really important.
All right, for now, Air Force is the enemy, at least this part of the segment. So our enemy intel talks about these Air Force Falcons. Let's take a closer look at this team. They lead the series now, 36-15-1. They really played well. 13-10 in games of this nature. And by the way, 3 different players for this Air Force football team have rushed for 300 yards. 3 different players. That's an awful lot of guys that have rushed for that many yards. Look, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later on. Air Force is legit. They lost last week to Boise State, but it wasn't because of their offense. Ian, this is a legitimate Air Force team.
It is, and they're scoring some points. Coach Calhoun and his offensive staff have always done a tremendous job. They're getting really solid quarterback play of late with Isaiah Sanders. Again, did a great job in the air last week, threw for over 200 yards against Boise State, a couple touchdowns, also ran for nearly 100. And they're spreading out. They got some playmakers, whether it's the fullback or Ronald Cleveland outside. They got some guys to distribute the ball to.
All right, well, we're going to talk more about that Air Force football team coming up a little bit later on in the program. But let's stay on Army for the moment, and as we always do, let's bring in the third member of our team. For the first time today, it's Lauren Brooks. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Frank. Army has the Commander-in-Chief's trophy for the first time in 21 years. And here's Zach Daly with more on the Black Knights' quest to defend it.
Thanks, Lauren. Last year, the Black Knights, for the first time in 21 years, were able to win the CIC trophy and bring it back with them to the banks of the Hudson River. And now that they have it, they have no plans in giving it up. And this team takes a lot of pride in defending that trophy.
one of the weeks in the season that everybody gets excited for. Everybody on campus is excited. It's beat Air Force everywhere, and this team, we're ready to go. We're confident, and we're ready to go out there and compete. It's the first CIC defense since, '96, so, it's new territory to us, but we're excited to go out there and do it and compete with Air Force and show them, that we can keep it here. We want to keep it here.
Having it here for the first time in 21 years, that's a big accomplishment for us. Being able to do it again for a second year in a row is going to be even cooler. If it's here, we plan on keeping it here. We're going to prepare all week, so it stays that way. So, it's exciting to play the guys from out west, and we look forward to it.
It's a legacy. It's what this school is built on, the tradition, and West Point Army. We deserve to have that trophy, and we're going to keep it here. We're a team that expects to keep it, so for us, it's just about coming out there and doing what we got to do.
I love playing in these games, in these rivalry games, and I've been really fortunate to be a part of a bunch of these academy rivalry games, and they're always fun, and they're always high emotion and very intense, and there's a lot at stake, and that's what makes it fun.
A lot on the line this week at Michie Stadium. If Air Force wins, the Commander-in-Chief Trophy is going back to Colorado Springs with them right after the game. And if the Black Knights win, it stays on the banks of the Hudson for at least one more year, as the Black Knights will retain the trophy with a victory. I'm Zach Daly for Inside Military Pigskin.
Thanks, Zach. Now we shift our attention to the Falcons of Air Force. And for more on this big matchup in West Point, here's Frank and Ian.
All right, Lauren, thank you very much. And it is a big matchup. We'll talk about the Falcons for a bit now as we turn our attention to that terrific football team. Look, they can score. They lost last week to Boise State 48-38. But Isaiah Sanders was terrific again. Offense certainly isn't the problem for this terrific Air Force team.
No, they're playing well. They're distributing the ball, getting a lot of production from a lot of places. Like I said, it'll be interesting with DJ Hammond back practicing this week. Isaiah Sanders has over 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns this year. Be interesting to see which hand Coach Calhoun goes to.
Well, that's kind of the interesting thing. 300 yards and 3 touchdowns for Sanders last week, but Hammond is back on the practice field. So Troy Calhoun was asked this week, is he going to play? Is he going to travel?
Well, we'll see what ends up happening here. You want a different answer rather than we'll see?
That wasn't we'll see. Do you expect him to travel?
Well, let me use 3 words. We will see. It's really, you got to go through practices. You need to be in pads. You need to, some of the ruggedness and get roughed up a little bit. I think that's healthy for every position.
You coaches don't want to tell anybody anything. He's being kind of coy, isn't he?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's some gamesmanship involved here, and this isn't Coach Calhoun's first rodeo. He's not going to give Army any information unless it's absolutely necessary, and it's not. Let him prepare for both quarterbacks.
All right, let's make Army now the enemy, at least at this point of the segment. Here's enemy intel on this terrific Army football team. They're 16-3. In games that kick off before 7 p.m. You didn't know that, did you, Coach?
No.
That's our producer Matt Kingston's stat of the week, by the way. 16-3 on games that start before 7 o'clock. They're bowl eligible again. This is really, really a terrific football team. No question about it. This is a nice matchup. This is real. Army and Air Force is a really nice matchup.
Well, there's no question. It's a big-time game. The stakes are extremely high, being a Commander-in-Chief trophy game. It just doesn't get any higher. And Army's playing well. Big win on the road against Eastern Michigan. They're top 25 right now in the country. Again, I like their chances.
It is a big game. I can tell you it's a big game. Anytime it's this big of a game, our friend Lauren Brooks even has the fancy hair. So let's take a closer look at this Air Force football team again. Once again, here's Lauren.
Thanks, Frank. I was afraid you didn't notice earlier. Air Force really wants that trophy back. And Sam Farnsworth has more on the senior class wanting to cement their legacy in Colorado Springs.
All right, thanks, Lauren. It was 2 years ago this month that the Falcons locked up their 20th Commander-in-Chief's trophy title. That's also the last time the team won that trophy. And for all the ups and downs the Falcons have been through this season, Saturday is really all that matters.
It's something that you definitely think about. You just one thing that I try to do is just envision yourself making those plays to help your team win.
Of course, senior wide receiver Marcus Bennett wants to win this game because this is his last chance to win it. He didn't travel to West Point his sophomore year, and last year, well, that's a game that still resonates with him.
As a competitor, when you lose, you remember the losses more than the wins. So last year was a loss that I I've never experienced before. It's just a competitor. You just don't like to have those losses.
That loss to Army, a shutout on the Falcons' home field, is something that is motivating the Falcons going into this weekend. But Bennett also told me that this senior class is motivated just knowing this is what they came to the academy to do.
It's like I said, number one priority that we thought about since I've been at the prep school, since I was a freshman, just something that our class of 2019, has always talked about and seen other classes do, and to just bring it back to our program because, it's, like I said, it's bigger than us. It means a lot to our heart to do that.
Well, the Air Force-Army rivalry not only on the gridiron this weekend, but it's also trickling over to the ice as the two academies' hockey teams will be facing each other at West Point for a 2-game series. So no doubt a lot of pride on the line this weekend for both those schools. Reporting for Inside Military Pigskin, I'm Sam Farnsworth.
Thanks, Sam. Coming up after the break, we will recap the nominees for the Defender of the Nation Award and take a closer look at Navy. That's all next on Inside Military Pigskin.
Inside Military Pigskin is presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces, veterans, and their families for over 85 years. Insured by NCUA.
There's nothing average about the Air Force Academy or those who come here.
It takes more than smarts and good grades.
It takes grit.
It's for the I never quit students, the relentless, persevering, most likely to keep trying until I reach my best students.
Because we will go on to lead others, push boundaries, save lives, and represent American ideals.
If you've got what it takes, prove it.
The United States Military Academy educates, trains, and inspires young men and women to become leaders of character, committed to the values of duty, honor, country, and there's so much more. Ranked among America's top schools, more than 35 majors, high-tech facilities, hands-on experiences, leadership, history, tradition. West Point, America's Academy.
What's a day like at the Academy?
Get up.
Get ready.
Eat breakfast.
Drill. Learn. Learn. Play.
Play.
Drill.
Study.
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 Eat dinner. And study. Go to bed.
Get up. Do it again.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy. Honor, respect, devotion to duty. Apply today.
Here, I test my limits. Here, I find my purpose.
Here, I attend a top-ranked school and am taught by the best. Here, I am part of something bigger than myself.
Here, at the United States Naval Academy, we wear the Navy blue and gold.
This week, the Charlotte Touchdown Club will announce the recipient of the Defender of the Nation Award. Here's a look at the 2018 nominees. Sean Williams from the United States Naval Academy. Jake Bainey from the Coast Guard Academy. Brody Bagnall from the Air Force Academy. The Citadel's Aaron Spann. And West Point's Kenneth Brinson Jr. Tune in next week for a look at this year's winner of the Defender of the Nation Award. The banquet will be held December 3rd at the Charlotte Convention Center and is presented by the Charlotte Touchdown Club. Good luck, gentlemen. Navy has a tough test against Cincinnati, and this week, Sydney Sims will talk to a young cornerback tasked with stopping the 7-1 Bearcats.
Thanks, Lauren. This is Sydney Sims sitting next to sophomore corner Micah Farrar. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. So you're going back home to Cincinnati. You and your teammates are taking on the Bearcats on Saturday. How excited are you?
Well, I'm very excited. It's like my first time going back home from like my home stands. All my friends have been like talking stuff to me trash all week, so I'm pretty excited.
Who will all be at the game, friends and family-wise?
Well, right now I'm just trying to get like as many tickets as I can, but my family, some friends, my coach from high school, so it should be a lot of people.
Awesome. So Cincinnati, they're 7-1 right now. They're playing really well. What have you seen on film about them, and what are your thoughts?
Well, offensively, they're pretty, they like to throw the ball around a lot. They have very fast receivers. That's nothing that like we haven't really dealt with this year, but it's still going to be a challenge.
All right. As a corner, and they do throw the ball and spread it out, what do you and your teammates, especially in that position, have to do in order to be successful?
Well, in the DB room, we just need to have like a one-play mentality. Like you can't let one play like determine what's going to happen for the next play. Like, you just need to keep playing.
As far as discipline, what do you guys need to do in order to be successful Saturday and moving forth in the season?
Well, it just comes from staying on top of each other, holding each other accountable. You know, in practice, just staying on top of each other, taking one play at a time, one rep at a time, and just make sure we pay attention to the little details. So in the game, when we're tired or fatigued, we can just, you know, it's second nature for us.
Awesome. Best of luck Saturday at home in Cincinnati. Right. And with Inside Military Pigskin for Navy, this is Sydney Sims.
Thanks, Sydney. For more on Navy and Cincinnati, here's Frank and Ian.
Tell you what, this is a terrific matchup. Thank you very much, Lauren. Navy and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's got a pretty good football team. Boy, Navy's not afraid to play good teams, are they?
No, Navy's going through just a brutal stretch of their schedule here with Houston, number 3 Notre Dame, and then now 7-1 Cincinnati at Cincinnati. It's a tough stretch.
So it is a very good Cincinnati football team. There's no doubt about that. 7-1 on the year. The only losses to Temple. The last 2 games they have played have both been overtime games. Lost to Temple and then came back and won an overtime game against SMU. This is a very good football team. Luke Fickell's done a nice job with this team, hasn't he? He got there. Remember, he was the interim coach at Ohio State for a while. Now the coach at Cincinnati has done a very nice job.
Done a tremendous job. This team is built really in his image. It's a Big Ten type of style of play. They're excellent on defense. I believe they're 9th in the nation in total defense, and they're a power running team coming downhill. Just a physical football team out of the Midwest, out of Cincinnati, and they're tough.
Brutal schedule for Navy continues along, and it's been a little bit of a tough season for the Middies, but Coach Ken Niumatalolo says you got to keep fighting.
I mean, you don't get in this line of profession unless you're a competitive guy.
Right.
And so, you know, you just got to continue to keep going. You know, we continue to do stuff in our staff meeting to try to make sure that we're getting the best, getting the best work done, getting the best game plan together, trying to make sure we have the best guys out there. The thing that helps those, we have a strong foundation, Wags. I just think if I hadn't been doing this for a long time and, you start to, grasp at different things.
Question yourself or question.
Well, just everything. You know what I mean? You just stay the course. It's not to say you don't look at things and try to see how you get better. You got to continue your work.
Certainly tough times right now. No doubt about that for this Navy football team. What's it like? What's it like when a coach goes through a program that has been so successful for so many years, goes through a difficult season like this?
Well, it's humbling, and it's a challenge. It's a professional challenge. To Coach Niumatalo's credit and his staff, they're doing a wonderful job doing that. It's just the schedule is not setting up well for them. But they have a locker room full of men with character and not characters, and that'll certainly help.
Let's take a closer look at this Cincinnati team. This is our enemy intel about this very good Bearcat team. They've never beaten Navy, by the way. They're 0-3 against the midshipmen, but they're very good defensively. 9th in the nation in scoring, and the running back, Michael Warren's pretty good. They want to run the ball at you, does this Luke Fickell coach team. 863 yards. It's an awfully good football team. Nobody would doubt that. Their hands are full. If you think if you play Notre Dame, you play all these good teams, you play Houston, it's no easier. This Cincinnati team, best team Luke Fickell's had there.
It is, there's no question, and it is a challenge for Navy. But these are young men that rise up to these challenges, and I expect Navy to bounce back from the tough Notre Dame contest out in San Diego, travel back home, go back to Cincinnati. Again, everything would point to it not being there for them, but I think they can get it done. They'll need to control the ball offensively, make some plays in the kicking game that nobody talks about, and be opportunistic defensively.
All right, we will take a break, but when we come back, we've got a lot more to do. We'll go back to Lauren Brooks, who's got our Alumni Insider. That's after this, when Inside Military Pigskin continues. Stay with us.
Here, I test my limits. Here, I find my purpose.
Here, I attend a top-ranked school and am taught by the best. Here, I am part of something bigger than myself. Here, at the United States Naval Academy, we wear the Navy blue and gold.
There's nothing average about the Air Force Academy or those who come here.
It takes more than smarts and good grades.
It takes grit.
It's for the I never quit students, the relentless, persevering, most likely to keep trying until I reach my best students.
Because we will go on to lead others, push boundaries, save lives, and represent American ideals.
If you've got what it takes, prove it.
The United States Military Academy educates, trains, and inspires young men and women to become leaders of character, committed to the values of duty, honor, country, and there's so much more. Ranked among America's top schools, more than 35 majors, high-tech facilities, hands-on experiences, leadership, history, tradition. West Point, America's Academy.
What's a day like at the Academy?
Get up.
Get ready.
Eat breakfast.
Drill.
Learn. Learn. Play.
Play.
Drill.
Study.
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 Eat dinner. And study. Go to bed.
Get up. Do it again.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy. Honor, respect, devotion to duty. Apply today.
Welcome back to Inside Military Pigskin, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, where our members are the mission. I'm so excited to be joined now by Susan West, who played volleyball at the Coast Guard Academy and now is an officer in the Coast Guard. Susan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Lauren.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's start with why you chose Coast Guard Academy.
The Coast Guard Academy was not my original life plan. I was playing volleyball at Jacksonville Juniors Volleyball Association in Jacksonville, Florida. And the recruiting coordinator actually reached out to the coach. The coach emailed me. I have no background in the military whatsoever, so I was like, this is not for me. She sat me down and explained that you go to school for 4 years, have your degree completely paid for at this academy, and then you graduate with a job for 5 years while I still get to play volleyball. So that just seemed extremely attractive and led me to where I am today.
In your volleyball career, you're one of only 11 athletes to play for the Coast Guard who have over 1,000 kills. Is that your most outstanding on-court accomplishment?
I would say so. It was definitely just a defining moment in my volleyball career and something that I can walk away from the academy with and take with me.
And what is your current role? You're a deck watch officer. What does that exactly mean?
I am. So my primary duties are driving the 210-foot cutter that's stationed in Mayport, Florida. But I additionally have other roles. I'm in charge of the deck department, which is in charge of maintaining the exterior of the ship, as well as a boarding officer.
As far as your Coast Guard training, what prepared you from the Coast Guard to your current role?
I'd have to say that growing up and playing volleyball for 4 years, I played year-round. Just learning to take direction from coaches really helped prepare me to do the job I am today.
And what would you like to say to the men and women out there that are watching on the American Forces Television Network?
Thanks, Lauren. I would just like to say thank you to all the other fellow servicemen and women out there and all the women who paved the way for where we are today as a service in a nation.
Well, thanks, Susan, so much for joining us, and also thank you for your service.
Thank you.
The 5-3 Bears are wrapping up their season, and let's now take a look at who their season leaders are on offense and defense. Ryan Jones has thrown for over 1,200 yards with 4 touchdowns. Justin Moffitt, just a sophomore, has 669 yards receiving and a touchdown. Jake Bainey, a senior linebacker, has 73 total tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 1 forced fumble. It's the Bears' final home game. For more on Coast Guard, here's Frank and Ian.
Warren, thank you very much. It is the final home game, and it's Community Appreciation Day for this final home game for the Coast Guard football team. 5-3 on the year now. If they at least split these last 2 games, Ian, Coast Guard has a winning season for the first time since 2012. So there's progress in the program.
Well, there's no question there's been progress made. And this is a big game. It'll be senior day at Coast Guard. The Bears will be fired up. They had a bye week last week in preparation for this contest. Now they're playing a WPI team that just beat MIT. MIT was undefeated. WPI's only given up 10 points a game all season. So Coast Guard has a challenge here.
Let's tell you a little bit more about Worcester Polytech. That is WPI. They do have a good football team. Here is our enemy intel as we talk a little bit about this football team. They're also 5-3 on the year, but they really throw the football. They're a passing team. Justin Nyland, a very good quarterback, has already thrown 13 touchdowns on the season. And you just said it, Ian, they beat the MIT team that beat Coast Guard just a week ago. Coast Guard's made progress. They don't have the same resources the other teams we talk about have, Ian, but it's a good football program. And I know if they win this one, and there's one more after this, they'll feel pretty good about this year.
Oh, they will for certain. And like they're well coached. And like you said, it's senior day. They're going to empty the tank here. They want to walk off that field for the last time at home as a victor.
All right, we're almost out of time, but Lauren Brooks joins us on the set in just a moment. When we come back, we'll tell you what Word E's about after this on Inside Military Pigskin.
What's a day like at the academy?
Get up,
Get ready.
eat breakfast.
Drill.
Learn. Learn.
Play.
Play.
Drill.
Study.
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 Eat dinner. And study. Go to bed.
Get up. Do it again.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy. Honor, respect, devotion to duty. Apply today.
The United States Military Academy educates, trains, and inspires young men and women to become leaders of character, committed to the values of duty, honor, country, and there's so much more. Ranked among America's top schools, more than 35 majors, high-tech facilities, hands-on experiences, leadership, history, tradition. West Point, America's Academy.
Here, I test my limits. Here, I find my purpose.
Here, I attend a top-ranked school and am taught by the best.
Here, I am part of something bigger than myself.
Here at the United States Naval Academy, we wear the Navy blue and gold.
There's nothing average about the Air Force Academy or those who come here.
It takes more than smarts and good grades.
It takes grit.
It's for the I never quit students, the relentless, persevering, most likely to keep trying until I reach my best students.
Because we will go on to lead others, push boundaries, save lives, and represent American ideals.
If you've got what it takes, prove it.
Welcome back to Inside Military Pigskin, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, where our members are the mission. Frank Frangie, Ian Shields, Lauren Brooks joins us on set. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Oh, I am fantastic. Thanks. How are you?
We are doing fantastic. We're going to tell you what we're at ease about.
That's right.
And I'm going to let you go first. What do you got?
Shockingly, I picked Army.
Yeah,
a really
yeah,
good
go
football
figure.
team. But I am at ease about Army controlling the time of possession. They lead the nation, averaging 39 minutes a game. I think Army's going to be able to keep the ball away from Air Force's quarterback, Isaiah Sanders. Army wins the football game.
All right, Coach Shields, what do you got for me?
I'm at ease about Navy and their ability to play defense against Cincinnati. I think, led by Dale Pearson, the defensive coordinator, they have 17 takeaways in 8 games defensively. That's extraordinary, and they'll need that. They'll need to win the turnover battle to have a chance to win this football game on the road against Cincinnati.
All right, here's why I'm at ease about Air Force. Lauren said she thinks Army's going to stop Isaiah Sanders. I'm not sure they're getting Isaiah Sanders. DJ Hammond practiced. You don't know which quarterback's going to play. I like the fact that there's a little bit of mystery in Troy Calhoun's setup. I am at ease about Air Force this week. Folks, that is our program. Thanks for being part of it. We love talking Service Academy football with you, and we thank you for joining us on Inside Military Pigskin. For Lauren Brooks and for Ian Shields, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.
Inside Military Pigskin was presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. At Navy Federal Credit Union, we have a mission to put members first by making their financial goals our priority. We proudly serve the Armed Forces, DoD, veterans, and their families. Confirm eligibility and join today. Our members are the mission, insured by NCUA.